So now I'm going to share with you about your four main body centers. So we have four main body centers within our body, and each body center corresponds to a mindset. So let's just start with our moving center. So that's from our hips, our legs, our knees, our feet. So that is called the moving center. So that represents your moving, your direction, your path, your feeling and sense of stability and security too. It's about walking your unique path. And if we have any issues in our legs, it will probably mean that we're having a few issues in our life regarding our direction, our path forward. And even if we trip up or break a limb, then that often represents a real crisis in our security, a real crisis in our way forward, a real crisis in our direction. Where do we go? Which way do we go? So if you have any issues in your legs and your feet, then just think about how you are feeling, how you are being, and what are you telling your body? Do you feel insecure within your sense of security in your home life, in your path forward, in your career? And if so, your body will tell you, your legs and your feet will tell you, because they will have aches, pains and issues and health issues. So that is your moving center. And now we're going on to our being center. So that's from our hips up to our chest. And that is about how we're being, basically. It holds all our vital organs, our will, our sense of power, our sense of self-esteem, particularly in the solar plexus, where our solar plexus chakra is. It represents our real sense of self and our self-esteem, basically. So if we're not feeling particularly confident and we're not expressing ourselves truly to who we truly are, then we'll get issues in our organs, particularly in our stomach. If we're feeling like we're not confident in who we are, we're churning things over, we're feeling a lack of self-worth even, and we're worried about what other people think, or we're churning things over about, did I do that right, and not feeling at all confident in who you are or in your work or in who you are in your creativity. If you're not expressing yourself with full confidence and sharing your true self into the world, then you will get issues within your tummy area, and that's with all the vital organs within this area. And it also includes obviously the heart as well. So if your heart is closed, remember it goes with that red light reflex. So if you're feeling like closed to life, it's like, what are you protecting? What pain and what hurt did you have in the past where you feel you have to protect yourself? And then that often goes with people who have issues with their heart, like heart attacks or aneurysms. And that often goes to somebody who's been deeply wounded, deeply hurt, and they're covering it up, and the energy cannot flow freely. And so we need to express ourselves. We need to express our love, because our love center, our chest, our openness is about really feeling alive and loving life. And if we don't love life, then we will close down. And then when we close down, we will get this protection all the way through our heart and our chest. And that often can also go with blocks, even cancers and things like that, where we're blocking our heart and we're not truly opening ourselves up and really feeling those feelings. Particularly, like if we have been hurt, we need to express those feelings, particularly grief, particularly feeling like unloved. Then we need to express that, and we need to tell this part of the body that we are loved, and it's just a thing that happened to us, and don't make it mean a something. Remember about the beliefs, about what we believe something to mean. Well, we might have been hurt in the past, and we've made it mean that we're unlovable, for example. And then we've closed down, and then we believe that we're unlovable, and hey, look what happens. You know, we start protecting ourselves, and then the fat starts to accumulate to protect ourselves even further. And then all sorts of issues start to happen within our body centers. So this is our being center. It's about how you be out there in the world, how you are expressing yourself, how you are confident in who you truly are. So if you have any issues in this area of your body, just maybe look at where you can heal that part of you, how you can express this part of you. And then also the being center goes with the spine. So it's the spine is obviously our life support. It's in our central nervous system. So it's about how much we support ourselves. You know, often we sort of go out and want support of other people or of other things, yet we have this central support system within us. We have the support that we need within us. And so if you have any issues down your spine or your back, any lower back issues, it often goes with somebody who feels that they're not being supported in life. You're not being supported financially, or you're not being supported by your loved ones, or you're just generally not feeling supported. And if that is the case, then you might find that you will have back issues. So it's about building up your strength, building up your feeling of self-support, and that will then alleviate any back issues that you have. So we also have our doing center. So that is the shoulders and the arms. And that represents what we do, basically. How do we express this beingness from within us out into our life? Are we doing what we love? Are we doing what we're here to do? Are we expressing who we truly are up and out? And our expression of our doing, our being, is in what we do. So if we're not actually doing what we love, then you'll probably find that the energy will come up and get locked in our shoulders. Or we'll find that we get issues in our arms because the energy is not flowing from our being out into our doing. And so that's why it's really important that we do what we love, because then the energy will really flow for us. And remembering that the right side of the body is about our masculine energy, and that's the giving energy. So how much do you give? And how much do you receive? And that's the feminine energy. So when we do or give more than we receive, for example, then again the energy is not flowing, and we'll find a block, we'll find a resistance, and then we start to get pain in our arms or in our hands. And it's the same with maybe if you're receiving more than you're giving, then again it's like the energy is not flowing. Remember the yin and the yang in perfect balance. We need to keep this flow, this energy flowing in our doing. It's vital that we do and express ourselves in this positive energy, in this positive way. And so when you do what you love, then you have this healthy expression coming from the belly, from our heart, and out into our arms. And you probably find that you have very healthy arms. You don't have any issues in your arms or your hands because the energy is flowing. And then the shoulders represent the burdens. How many burdens are you carrying? Not just of your own, but of other people's burdens. You know, are you carrying the load? Are you carrying more than you should? And again, it goes with how much are you doing, you know, the doing and the being. How much are you doing? Are you doing too much? And if you are feeling you're doing too much, your shoulders will come upwards, and then you start to feel the burden and the weight of all that pressure of other people's issues on your shoulders. You've got to let it go. It's like, don't give so much perhaps, or don't take it on board. Somebody else's issues is theirs. Yes, we can be compassionate and we can be supportive, but how much are we going to take on, literally physically, within our body. So it's really important to just sometimes give what we can and then know when to stop. Know when to set our boundary. And that also goes with the healthy upper body, with our being and our giving and our doing. You know, setting our boundaries sometimes is really vital. And sometimes we forget that and we just end up giving and giving and giving until it builds and builds and builds, and then suddenly there's nowhere for it to go and it just builds onto our shoulders. So if you find that you have issues on your shoulders, what do you need to let go of? You know, what do you need? What is yours, basically? What's yours and what's other people's? Take it off, shake it off, let it go, yeah? And then we come up to our neck and our voice. Our throat, so that's all part also of the being center. It's coming the doing is coming from the being to our voice. How do we express ourselves? How do we express our being? You know, are we truthful in our voice? Are we expressing what's in here out? So if you have any throat issues or any neck issues, perhaps you're not expressing yourself freely. Maybe you've been told in the past to just, you know, don't speak, or what you have to say is not important, or what you have to say is not of value. And if you feel that, then you get issues in your throat. You might have sore throats a lot, or you might be coughing a lot, or you might get thyroid issues. So to have a healthy throat and neck, expressing yourself is really important, letting the energy from here flow up and out through our arms and through our voice. And then lastly, we have the control center, and that is our head. And basically, our head controls the rest of the centers. Like I've discussed before, our mind and our beliefs then get reflected into the body, and it turns into feelings. It turns into pain. It turns into whatever in the body. Your thoughts and your beliefs create everything. So your control center is vital. It's the most vital part of yourself. It's being mindful about what you choose to think. And we all have a choice about what we think. Believe it or not, but we do. And so just being mindful about our thoughts and where we project those thoughts outside of ourselves and inside of ourselves. And just talking briefly about thoughts and emotions as well, because we all have emotions. We're emotional beings. We are energetic beings. Energy in motion is emotion. So when we feel something, we need to express it. So if we're not sharing or showing our emotions and we lock it inside of ourselves, then we will get issues within our body. It's like trying to cage a pacing tiger or lion, because when we try and contain our feelings, that energy will turn inwards and it will disrupt all our energy centers in our body, and it will cause havoc to our internal organs. So that's why it's really important to express your emotions, express your feelings, let it go, and then move on. And when we get stuck into an emotion, when we get stuck in an emotion and we don't let it go, that's when it festers. That's when it will rise up into anger or sorrow or pain, or huge, more bigger emotions than actually were there in the first place, because it's being contained in the body and it's festering and it's getting bigger and bigger. And so eventually it will need to come out. And also skin issues, actually, by the way, skin problems all represent the fact that you're not expressing something. What is it you're not expressing? Something is under your skin. Something is not coming out, and it's showing in the form of skin issues. So it's really important we express ourselves in a healthy way, always, like children. You know, they'd be crying one minute and then they'd be laughing the next. And that's really healthy emotional system that we need to just keep expressing ourselves emotionally, even though we have probably been told not to. But you know, let's not be afraid to express ourselves. And also our thoughts, you know, if we think of something, we exacerbate this emotional feeling, because it's what we attach to that feeling. So for example, if we start to feel an emotion and then we think about the emotion, like, oh, that person doesn't like me, and then you start to attach a belief about that emotion, then that emotion just gets bigger, you know. So your thoughts actually feed in an emotion. So this is why if you just let an emotion go and then move on, then it won't be an issue. But if you start expressing an emotion and then your thoughts attach to that emotion, and then you'll start thinking awful things about this emotion, whatever you've made this emotion mean, it will escalate out of control. It will get bigger and bigger and bigger. So this is why it's really important to stop your brain interfering with the natural process of your emotions. Take your mind out of it. Just express it and move on. Just like animals, you know, they express, you know, if they've been attacked by another animal, they will just express it by shaking or just, you know, using their voice, and then they'll move on. They'll be grazing in the grass the next minute. You know, they're not frightened. They're not looking around their shoulder every 5 seconds to see, you know, what else is going to get them. They've moved on. They've let the fear go. They've let the thoughts go. They've let the emotions go. And so we can do the same. So that is just a little example of how our body expresses itself through our thoughts and through our mind and through our beliefs. And so I hope that has helped you understand how you hold on to energy, sometimes positively, sometimes negatively, and just being a bit more aware of how you express your energy.